Continuing along with our recasting of the gospel narrative, I had a question this morning. If I don't like names like Bill and Bob and Charlotte and Jenny, I'm not sure if that's exactly the names I was asked about, but I have no problem with those names. But part of the issue of bringing the gospel story into our context of today is recognizing that names like Andrew are not Hebrew. They're not Aramaic. They include people in these gospel narratives that were not of the same tribe, the same nation. People from all over are included in these stories, and often we don't notice that because they've all been translated into English now for generations, and we just take them as assumed, forgetting that things like George was a name reserved for kings back in that day, the day of King George. There were names for people of different classes, and you didn't mix them because then you were usurping privileges and rights that were not yours. So I'm trying to reflect some of that in the choice of names as well as in the choice of geographical names, looking not only to Native American history here, but also dissociating it with spaces that we identify with in not exactly correct manner that would be appropriate to the story. So listen along with me, if you would, to hear this story in a new light. From Luke chapter 5, as well as Mark 1, 3, and 2, and passages from John and Matthew as well. Kalataka saw Joshua walking down the road and told her followers, "Look, there goes Yah's dray horse, the lamb carting away the world's sin. I spoke of him, saying, 'Behind me comes one above me, who was even before me.' I had not known him, but he is why I immerse you in water. Baptizing him, I sensed Yah's breath falling over him like a dove down from the sky, and it remains upon him. Yah told me, 'This one will immerse you in the very breath of the Holy One.' This is Yah's very own." The next day, Kalataka saw Joshua again and exclaimed, "There goes Yah's lamb, Yah's beast of burden." Two of her followers immediately turned to follow Joshua. Joshua noticed and asked what they were about, and they said, "Preacher, where are you staying?" He told them, "Come see for yourselves." So they followed and shared the remainder of the day with him, as it was already late afternoon. One of these was Manny, who ran to call his brother Marlon. "We have found the long-awaited one, Yah's anointed." Manny led Marlon to Joshua, who greeted him. "You are Marlon, son of Gorman. You will be called Seongji, a holy foundation on which to build." Joshua departed for the hills to spend the day and night in prayer. Coming down, he heard of Kalataka's arrest by Governor Berkeley. He turned to Peden, preaching and teaching as he went, proclaiming Yah's reign as the greatest of good news. It is time now. Yah's reign is arrived upon you. Alter your course, change your ways, and trust Yah's reign as good news for all people. He went to the water's edge at Sugary on Peden, and as a crowd followed him, he was teaching them. To be better heard, he stepped up onto a boat where Marlin was cleaning and mending fishing tackle, and he taught from there, asking Marlin to put out just a few feet from the shore. After teaching the assembled crowd, Joshua turned to Marlin and said, "Put out into deeper water and let down your nets for a catch." Marlin responded, "Boss, we fished all night long with nothing to show for it. But as you say so, we'll do it." They set out and began letting down their nets for a catch, but the net was almost torn from them by so many fish filling it so quickly. Manny and Marlin called out to their partners Carlos and Jabin Nimbus, who brought another boat to lend assistance. Seeing the scope of the catch overfilling their nets, Marlin threw himself down at Joshua's feet, saying, "Sir, I am a sinful and greedy man. I am not worth your attention and presence." Joshua replied, "Peace, don't fret. From now on, you will be reeling people into Yah's reign." Back ashore, Joshua told these fishermen, "Come, follow me." They left their boats, tackle and catch, with Carlos and Jabin's father and his hired hands, following Joshua. He found Abnas, a neighbor to Marlin and Manny, calling him to follow as well. Abnas brought Elliot along, saying, "We found the one Moshe wrote of, Joshua, son of Braden from Saturn." Elliot scoffed. "Does Saturn produce anything of worth?" Abnas answered, "Come see." Arriving before Joshua, Joshua said, "Here is an honest Kimbalite without a dram of deceit." Elliot replied, "How would you know me?" Joshua told him, "Oh, I saw you before Abnas found you, while you were under the plum tree." "Preacher, you are Yah's son. You are ruler of Kimball." Elliot replied. Joshua said, "You trust me because I told you that I saw you under the plum tree? Hold on to your hat, for you will see things greater than that by far." Then turning to all five, he said, "For sure, you will all see the skies opened. You will see Yah's messengers moving up and down between heaven and earth and over all of humanity. Do not be overly surprised at the little things." They moved along the road by the water's edge and came across Booker, son of Akil, who were both payday lenders. Joshua called out to Booker, "Follow me." So Booker got up to follow him, leaving everything behind with his father. Booker implored Joshua to accept his hospitality and come to his home. There he spread out a banquet for Joshua and his retinue of followers. He made it a party for the neighborhood. The gates of his yard opened up to all, and as they were eating there, some of the crustier Pentecostals and Bible thumpers among them asked some of Joshua's followers, "Why does this preacher of yours eat and associate with the likes of these loan sharks and sinners? Doesn't he know what kind of people he is associating with? Doesn't he know that by coming here, he is encouraging them and giving tacit approval to them with all of their evil and wicked ways? Why would you follow someone like that, one who is already more lost than you yourselves are?" Joshua, however, was the one who responded to them, saying, Healthy people are not those going to urgent care. Urgent care is for those who are sick or injured. Go back to your religious texts and ponder what Yah means by saying, I am looking for mercy, not for sacrifice. There is a reason I am here in this place and among these people. I am not on a mission to gather and coddle people who believe themselves righteous. I have come to redeem people who recognize their sinfulness. People who know they have failed, who know they need help. They are the ones who will listen to Yah and learn to embrace Yah's mercy, grace, and love. It is from among those who understand their imperfections, limitations, and failures that Yah's reign is built. They are the ones best indicated to follow and learn from me. Those who believe they have all the answers they already need have no room for growth. As he left that place, he called his followers to him, and among them he chose a dozen. These he named as envoys to represent him, even as they learned from him. These were Marlon, or Seongji, and Mani, sons of Gorman, and Carlos and Jabin, sons of Nimbus, whom he called the sons of thunder. Abnus, Bart, Martin, Booker, also known as Lasimba, Dontrell, son of Akil, Elliot, Quanell of Cedar Crest, and Khalil, who would betray him. To these 12, Yahshua gave special authority, the power to offer healing. There were also several women within the ranks of his closest followers. These included Mariska of Amanor. Yahshua had cured her of several maladies, physical and psychiatric. Juanita, whose husband Galen was on Berkeley's staff. And Lainey, along with many others who provided for Yahshua's needs out of their personal resources. In this way, Yahshua was making rounds through the countryside, passing through many towns, villages, parks, and campgrounds. He was preaching and teaching in churches, at watering holes, and in the open air. He spoke of the great good news that is Yah's reign, that Yah's reign is characterized by welcome, love, and acceptance. Along the way, he healed many with all sorts of illnesses and diseases. People who had been denied treatment by profit-seeking corporations and incapable practitioners. Word about him spread more and more rapidly across the land and throughout Mentus. Even from there, crowds of foreigners and pilgrims joined people from across Peden, Kahari, Jasper, Catawba, and beyond the Catawba, following to hear Yahshua speak and seek care for their many ailments. Yahshua turned toward Saturn, where he had grown up, and his followers continued with him. He taught them along the way, turning fishermen into envoys of Yah, along with a payday loan shark, commoners, and one he knew would betray him to his death. He invested his life in theirs, trusting Yah to wield this ragtag bunch for the transformation of the world. Imperfect misfits in the hands of Yah.